MRP, what happened to it? For a lot of people, MRP, if you don't know, stands for Material Requirements Planning. And in a lot of legacy ERP systems, I found that a lot of my customers have been a little intimidated by it, or it hasn't worked well. It's been clunky, it's been slow, the data's been hard to manage, and so they just kind of give up by not getting the results they want. But 100% of companies I work with, they want better inventory control. They want better planning. They want to be proactive and not reactive to their purchasing and production demands. They need to make sure they don't run out of certain items, or in our supply chain the way it has been, and it's been in flux, that we need to control those lead times a little bit more and make sure we have products and can meet our customer ship date. I have great news for you. Don't be intimidated by MRP anymore, because now it's gone, and now we call it inventory planning. Let me show you. So when you upgrade, not if, but when, it comes to 2023 R2, and you'll look at your screen and say, what happened to MRP? Well, the mystery solved. It's now under this workspace called inventory planning. So those of you that have gone through an implementation, you kind of understand the importance of terminology, right? We have to understand what some of these words mean, and this is no different here. So we have to kind of come in here and say, okay, it used to be called MRP display, now it's called the inventory planning display. So you're going to see they replaced MRP in a lot of areas with the words inventory planning, because it really does encompass quite a bit. However, if you're not new to MRP or inventory planning, don't panic, because they really haven't changed what's underneath the hood. So they just kind of put a little bit different wrapper on it, but under the hood, you're still going to see all the same things that you're used to seeing. The way we set up our items is the same. The way we calculate things is the same. We just have a little bit different name and a few other options. Now, they have had side panel support for the display here for a while. This used to be called your inventory or your MRP detail inquiry. Now it's just called your results by item. So these are your inventory planning results, which of course goes in and shows you what you have in stock and where you have supply and you have demand and when those dates are going to happen. So when you look at something and you don't quite understand, you can always look here to figure that out. But what's very exciting is that they have now changed the stock item screen. And under our general tab here, we have a brand new field called planning method. So this planning method, we can tell each and every item what is our planning method for that item. And we have three options. We have none. We have MRP. When I just said MRP went away, and here you see it again. Again, terminology. And then we have our inventory replenishment. So MRP relates to this inventory planning where we do all these complex calculations and math and help you manage lead times and blow through our bill of materials and make sure we have materials. Inventory replenishment is kind of like, I kind of call it teeny tiny MRP. So if you don't need full-blown MRP, you can use those reorder points and the mins maxes and be able to replenish inventory with reorder points. Make sure you have it. So in addition to this new planning method, we have a new tab called inventory planning. So as I change that planning method, some of the options I see on this inventory planning tab are going to change a little bit. They don't change a lot, but when we have a none planning method, then we get our source, mins, max, lot size, manufacturing lead time. Very simple, doesn't give us a ton of features here. Then as I change that planning method and I go to MRP, now we're going to start to open up things like our safety stock and our reorder points and some of these more complex calculations that we need to have in order to be proactive instead of reactive in managing our inventory. And if I change it to inventory replenishment, we used to have our replenishment tab. Under inventory planning, we see our replenishment parameters are now under there as well as some of that mins and max. Better yet, over on the item classes, they have added this planning method and our inventory planning tab to our item classes. So before, when we'd set up a new item, using an item class allows us to set a lot of these defaults, making it quicker and easier, and of course, reducing the number of inputs that people have to make and reducing errors. But now we can set a lot of these statuses and settings on the item class itself. And that is actually something in the last couple of weeks someone had asked for. And it's like, oh, no, we have to go in on each of them and say, oh, it's a manufacturer purchase item. We no longer have to do that with this addition to the item classes. So with that, don't be intimidated by MRP, because now we just have inventory planning, and that should make you feel a lot better.